Now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! 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 Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, and it's time for us to go back to the Disney Plus original series, The Santa Clauses, as we take a look at Chapter 4, The Shoes Off the Bed Clause, starring Tim Allen, Elizabeth Mitchell, Austin Kane, Cal Penn, Elizabeth Allen Dick, Matilda Lawler, Devin Bright, Rupali Red, Isabella Bennett, and Laura San Giacomo. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. As I said in the introduction, today we're going to take a look at the Disney Plus original series, The Santa Clauses, and discuss Chapter 4, The Shoes Off the Bed Clause. And as our episode opens, Simon Chosky begins his first day as Santa Claus. Unfortunately, the official Santa coat has gone missing. When Simon attempts to give an inspirational speech to the elves, Betty, Noel, and Edie seem to be hesitant to his pitch. Back in Chicago, the Calvin family is struggling to adapt to life in the real world. While playing a board game, Carol points out that the kids need to get enrolled in school. On their first day, Cal meets a girl named Riley, who he instantly begins to crush on, while Carol begins to integrate back into her principal lifestyle. At a Memorial Day picnic, Sandra is able to stop a runaway horse and in the process meets a group of girls whom she becomes friends with. Back at the North Pole, Simon discovers the North Pole delivery system and decides that he wants to try and make it Christmas Day every day. However, Betty and Noel take issue with the idea because it will take away the special nature of Christmas. Meanwhile, back at the Calvin home, Carol and the kids become wrapped up in their new lives, leaving Scott feeling left out and alone. During a meeting between Simon and the elves, Betty barges in and lets the new Santa know that two elves did not show up for work. Noel decides to stand up to Simon, so he challenges him to a duel, but Betty intervenes and tells Noel to go home. Noel does as she asks, and when he gets there, he leaves a note for Betty, letting her know that he's going to go and try to find Santa Scott. However, Simon finds the note and tears it up. When more elves begin to disappear and the reindeer refuse to fly, Simon blames poor leadership and passes the buck to Betty. When Betty asks Simon about Noel, he lies to her face and says that he has no idea where Noel is. Noel finds Scott in Chicago and he tries to convince him to come back with him to the North Pole. However, Scott flips it on him and tries to convince Noel that Simon needs the assistance of his number one elf. However, Noel refuses to go back and tells Scott that he's also sad because Betty hasn't come to look for him. Betty tries to show Simon Bernard's snow globe, which measures the Christmas spirit in the world, but Simon dismisses it by saying that he's creating more Christmas spirit. When Edie tries to stand up to Simon, she disappears into thin air, causing Simon to fire Betty. Betty then goes to the cabin of La Befana, the Christmas witch, and discovers that Santa's coat is in her possession. La Befana tells Betty that the coat came to her on its own. Betty then asks La Befana to help her find him. Initially, La Befana assumes that Betty is asking about Scott, but Betty once again says no, him, alluding to somebody else. The Calvin family is in their home about to decorate for Christmas when Out of nowhere, Carol, Cal, and Sandra all freeze. A hand reaches out and touches Scott's shoulder, and our episode comes to its end. You know, I really liked the way the story flowed in this episode and the way everything progressed. We finally get to see Simon assuming the role of Santa, and the way that he was so gun ho about his own company, the Everything Now. You can kind of understand why once he learns the delivery system for the North Pole, he wants to try to mass market that so that he can then root that into his company. But his lack of logic and understanding what makes Christmas so special is really what is the driving force of this episode. And then getting to see the Calvin family trying to reassimilate to life in Chicago and trying to move past their North Pole lifestyle. Everyone seems to find their purpose in their place, except for Scott, the man who's used to being the big man, the head in charge. Now he's just kind of there. Cal has Riley, Sandra has her group of friends, Carol's a principal again, and Scott is Scott. And we remember Scott's life prior to donning the suit back in 1994. He didn't have the greatest life. He just wasn't anything to try to strive to be like. So where is Scott going to end up going from here? And then you've got all the elves randomly disappearing. And it's not just them being lazy and like, oh, well, I don't feel like coming to work. Elves love working at the North Pole. They don't miss work. Something is up. And then you get the big reveal at the end with the hand on Scott's shoulder and the cliffhanger. And we can only assume what it is. Odds are it's going to be Bernard because we know he's coming back at some point. What better way to set it up than for Betty to be looking for him, this random hand to touch Scott, and the episode ends? Has to be Bernard coming back. We'll find out next week, though, when we discuss episode 5 of the Santa Clauses. As you guys know, I don't break down and rate each episode. I wait till the series is over and rate it. So you got 2 more episodes before I finally give my rating on the Santa Clauses. But for those of you that saw this one, what did you guys think? Let me know. If you're watching the premiere, leave your thoughts and comments over here. If you're watching on demand later in the day, leave your thoughts and comments down here. But let's have that conversation, that discussion, that debate, that interaction that I'm always asking you guys for in the comments below. And make sure you guys tune in tomorrow, right here to the Casa D18 Studios channel for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. And we have another double feature tomorrow of A Christmas Carol, but it's going to be more lighthearted. First up on the agenda, Mickey's Christmas Carol, starring the voices of Alan Young, Wayne Allwine, Hal Smith, Eddie Carroll, Will Ryan, and Clarence Nash. And then following that at the top of the half hour, we're going to take a look at The Muppets Christmas Carol, starring Michael Caine, Dave Goelz, Steve Whitmire, Frank Oz, Jerry Nelson, Stephen McIntosh, and Robin Weaver. You're not going to want to miss out on that right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel on all new episodes of Renegades Reviews. We still have 3 more tellings of A Christmas Carol plus a new release Saturday film, which is also a take on the Christmas Carol story. Coming up just this week, we got some classic chestnuts coming next week, and we've still got like 2 weeks to go in the month. So if you want to make sure you keep up on all that content, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure that notification bell is turned on so you don't miss out anytime a video drops right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel or anytime we go live, as is the case with Open Mic Night, Stat Boy Sports Bar, pay-per-view PLE coverage, etc. Share these videos with your family, friends, loved ones, coworkers, movie fanatics, cinephiles in your life, fans of the Santa Claus, fans of Tim Allen, anybody you can think of that would enjoy this content in this video. Share it with them. It's the only way we're going to boost visibility up in YouTube's algorithms so I can eventually get monetized, make some money on these videos. Thank you once again to everyone who joined me and tuned in today. It means more to me than you'll ever know. And I will see you guys next time.